With the NBA season winding down and the playoffs looming in the horizon, it's time for teams to really lock in and start on their journey to being the next team to have the honor of lifting the Larry O'Brien trophy. There have been some pretty shocking results this season, but none more interesting in my opinion than the Orlando Magic. These past 3 seasons under first-time head coach Jamal Mosley have seen them go from a 22-60 record, which was the worst in the East and second worst in the NBA, to currently having a 47-32 record and being the 5 seed in the East. So how did the Magic get to this point seemingly out of nowhere? Well, it's due to some incredible drafting and an underrated season from a future superstar in Paolo Banchero. But first, let's go back a couple years to the 2021 season, as this would be the year the Magic would officially decide to start their rebuild after 2 seasons of first-round exits and pretty much seeing the writing on the wall that they needed to move in another direction. They would completely overhaul their roster, trading Nikolai Vucevic and Aaron Gordon, in addition to making moves to get their roster younger. The next year, they shortened the roster to 22 players instead of the 28 they fielded the year before, including drafting and acquiring a couple important guys for the future. 2 of which are Jalen Suggs out of Gonzaga, who is in consideration for being an all-defensive player this year, and both Franz and Moritz Wagner out of Michigan, with Franz being one of the more important building blocks for the squad. Paired with Cole Anthony, a draft pick from last year, and a reinvigorated Wendell Carter Jr. and Markelle Fultz, the Magic had the beginnings of something good. They also got a brand new coach to lead their future, as Jamal Mosley would finally get his shot at coaching an NBA team after being an assistant for 15 years. All of these changes were not reflective of their record though, as they would go on to lose 60 games, only winning 22, that's 1 more than last year, but the tank was all worth it because they would get the one piece they were missing for their team, and that is a superstar. And that is exactly who they draft with the number 1 pick out of Duke, forward Paolo Banchero. Now, coming out of college, Banchero was touted as an incredible prospect, but he has honestly been even more incredible than what he was touted as. He is a star, and he is on his way to potentially becoming one of the faces of the league and an absolute superstar, which is exactly what the Magic need. Now, in his first season of NBA action, he averaged 20 points per game on 43% shooting, also tallying 6.9 rebounds and 3.7 assists. He did play 72 games and helped the Magic increase their win total from 22 to 34. He would easily take home Rookie of the Year, as Chet would get injured that year, and had some incredible games in his first year of action. Now, I'm going to do something a little strange, but bear with me. As a comparison, let me show you LeBron James' rookie year stats and Banchero's. LeBron averaged 20.9 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, 5.9 assists, and shot 42% from the field. As you can see, they are strikingly similar. And that's not to say that Banchero was going to turn into LeBron, but it more shows the caliber of player we are dealing with. After the season, it was easy to see that the Magic had the makings of an up-and-coming team. They were young, drafted well, and had a coach that could grow alongside the players. That is the 3 things you need for a young team to blossom into a team that can make the playoffs and even potentially win their conference, which is exactly what happened to the Thunder. And even more, Banchero improved even more. He changed his game to have more assists, he shot better on the 3 ball, he improved his field goal percentage by great margins, and it allowed him to become, funnily enough, a more LeBron-esque player. And that's important because he's the type of guy, or he's growing into the type of guy, that can not only create shots on offense for himself, but his teammates as well, and that is going to make his ability to score even more potent. He'd be an all-star in just his 2nd season, and not only help lead the retooled Magic to a 47-32 record, but a 5 seed in the East, and they were pretty close to getting a top 3 seed as well, which is pretty incredible for a 3-year turnaround. But he didn't do it alone. Like I mentioned before, Franz Wagner and Jalen Suggs developed into the exact kind of players that a young team would need to become contenders. Wagner's developed into a fantastic third-year player, averaging 19.6 points per game on 48% shooting. And while he's having a down year on 3% shots, his averages the 2 years before were 35% and 36%, so I do expect a return to form soon. Now, Wagner is also very tall at 6'10 and adds 5.3 rebounds and 3.8 assists. Jalen Suggs, on the other hand, is averaging a career high with 12.4 points per game, while shooting an incredible 40% from the 3 and 47 overall. But his impact is most on defense, as he has been an incredible defender this year and is very deserving of an all-defensive spot, in my opinion. Now, this fantastic young supporting cast has catapulted the Magic into being one of the best in the East, but if you've watched them play basketball this season, you know that it is mostly because of their incredible defense. As a matter of fact, they're the second best defensive team in the league by defensive rating with 111.3 and fourth best in terms of opponents' points per game with 108.4. Having a Jonathan Isaac will definitely help with that, even though he does only play around 15 minutes a game. He is a game changer if you've seen him play. But on the opposite side, because defense isn't everything, the one problem that is currently stopping the Magic from being true contenders in my eyes is their offense. They currently have the 23rd rated offense in the league, and one major part that factors into that rating is their frequency of taking 3-point shots. Now, the Magic aren't really a 3-point shooting team. They honestly play some good old 2000s basketball, which is fantastic to see, and it will be a must-watch series for basketball fans against the Cavs. But unfortunately, it is the year 2024, and the game has changed pace-wise a lot. Now, 3-point shooting frequency isn't directly correlational to team success, but the best teams can take and make them at a high clip. The Magic are not one of those teams. They are 29th in 3-point attempts, 30th in 3-point makes, 24th in 3-point frequency, and 24th in 3-point percentage. Yet these numbers are not good. Now, like I said before, just because you are, 30th in 3-point attempts and makes, well, that's bad. You obviously want to take and make threes, but their frequency isn't really indicative to their success. But like I said, the best teams can take them and make them. And that is what the most important thing is. These numbers don't look good, no matter which way you slice them, but I don't think them just jacking up a bunch of more threes is going to be conducive to team success either. What I do think they should acquire, though, is a high-volume 3-point shooter and try and replicate what they did to make the NBA Finals in 2009. They're a very slow team pace-wise. Like I said, they play 2000s basketball, but it is 2024. The pace is fast, and it is as fast as it has ever been in the game, and if teams aren't able to play fast, they will be overwhelmed by teams that can play faster than them. So I do think that adding a couple shooters, including a high volume 3-point shooter, would be great. And what high volume 3-point shooter could they acquire? Might I interest them in one lightly used and formerly washed Klay Thompson, who has shaken off a rough start to shoot incredibly well in the latter half of the season. He's having a bit of a down year, so his 38% is tied for a career worst, but he does provide the volume shooting that this team needs to truly be lethal in the playoffs, and probably something that the team needs just in general. So as they are now playing the Cavs, I do think that they can win, but I think that in the future, their volume 3-point shooting is going to bite them, and I think that as long as they can improve on that front, I think that they will potentially be one of the best teams in the East next year. So what do you guys think about the Magic? I think they've got a bit of a way to go, but I do think that they will shock some people this year and will continue to shock people next year. But of course, we'll just have to wait and see. So thank you for liking the video. Make sure to comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.